I think it was for the first time in my life I ever really felt fear.
The north central area, especially Gainesville and Alachua County, were just gripped with fear.
The phone in the newsroom just rang non-stop. Should I leave? Should I stay? What do you think they should do?
We had a rather substantial exodus of students who left.
I'm leaving. My parents are coming to get me, and I'm going home.
You can be sure that this university and this community is doing everything possible to apprehend the perpetrator.
The ones that stayed, especially the females, they began to call friends, and they started rooming together.
3 of us slept in one room because we were definitely shaken up.
Just because there's safety in numbers. At least that's what they thought. The National Guard was called in by the governor. The Florida Highway Patrol participated. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement came into the investigation.
Authorities expand the hunt statewide, creating a special task force to catch what they believe is a serial killer.
Students and anyone else in this area should know that the killer has not been apprehended and therefore could assume that he is still in this area.
We had a killer on the loose, and every possible thing that could be looked at was looked at.
And then the first forensic evidence returns from the lab.
At each one of the scenes, there were biological evidence that had been left behind by the killer. Body fluid that had been collected where the killer had left his semen. Back then, DNA was brand new and just being used, and it took weeks to get a DNA profile.
But you can tell somebody's blood type pretty quick. Our perpetrator was a secretor.
It's a huge discovery. The killer secretes his blood type into other bodily fluids.
Saliva, a teardrop, semen, those kind of bodily fluids, we would be able to determine what his blood type was. We were able to determine their perpetrator's blood type was a B. Well, that was a critical piece of information.
Forensics investigators were still processing Krista Hoyt's crime scene when we received a call that a bank robbery had just occurred a couple of blocks away.
In a peaceful community with very little violent crime, authorities believe having 3 brutal homicides and a bank robbery in such a short time frame is no coincidence.
We were hoping there was a connection in some form or fashion with our homicides.
A couple of us responded over there. The perpetrator had run out of the bank, and the dye pack had exploded. We called the canines out, we tracked it. The canine tracked the perpetrator back to a campsite. They did not find the perpetrator that ran from them.
They found a bag full of money, and the money was painted with a red dye, indicative of the dye packs from bank robberies. They found a handgun, a ski mask, along with assorted jewelry. And there was also a little small cassette-type player. There was a screwdriver there, and that caught my attention.